I think
So we were in the last verses of the 8th chapter, right? We have to start the 9th chapter today. So 8th chapter, Akshara Brahma Yoga. So we saw how the yogis, they who are very mature yogis, the austere yogis, they can decide their own time. Or just it is stated that if it is Uttarayan, if it is daytime, if it is Shukla Paksha, then he can go back home. He can get Supreme Brahman, it's not go back home, Supreme Brahman. If it is night time, if it is Dakshinayana, it is Krishna Paksha, they will come back. So the last verse. So devotees, about the devotees has been spoken in the 27th verse. Devotees, they know these two paths, but they are never bewildered because they are always fixed in devotion. So for the devotees, every time is auspicious. Vedeshu yajneshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. Vedeshu yajneshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. Vedeshu yajneshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam. So if you see Vedeshu means study of the Vedas, Yajneshu, the performance of Yajna sacrifice, Tapasu, different types of austerities, Cha, also, Eva certainly, Daneshu in giving charities, Yat, that, Punya Phalam, results of pious activities, pious work, Pradishtam, indicated, Atyeti, surpasses, Tat Sarvam, all those, Idam is, Viditva, knowing the yogi, the devotee, Param, supreme sthanam, abode, Upaiti, achieve, Cha, also Adyam, original. Those who have accepted the supreme path, as a devotional service. So he is not brevet. That means he also enjoys the benefit of studying the Vedas. Whatever results one derives in studying the Vedas, in giving charity, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, pursuing the philosophical fruitive activities, whatever fruits these people get, even the yogi also gets, or the person in the path of devotional service also gets. So in this way, simply just by performing devotional service, he attains all this. And the more plus point is, he attains the supreme eternal abode. A person may study the Vedas, he need not go back to God. But a person who is a devotee, he attains the benefit what the person who is studying the Vedas, they get, that also benefit they get, plus they can go back to God. What the Jnani gets, what the Tapasvi gets, whatever benefits they get, that also he gets, plus the most important point is, he can go back to God. He gets a supreme abode of Lord. So in this way, the devotees always are beneficial, or the person in devotional service is always benefited. Okay. You see, a devotee gets opportunity for everything, for giving dhanam also, for doing everything. Like now Putra Paksh is there. The devotees give dhanam. So they are getting the benefit. They don't have to see the benefit got by a common person in giving dhanam. The devotee gets that also. Plus he gets the benefit of going back to God, because it is a devotional path. And then yagyas, there are people who are only concentrating themselves in the yagyas. So we have Sudarshan Yagya, we have Tulsi Archana Yagya, so many things we have. Even the devotees also get the opportunity to perform the yagya, even that results also they get. At the same time, they get the highest benefit of serving Krishna. So they are always situated in the abode of Krishna. So serving Krishna is not different from being in the abode of Krishna. Like devotees attending Mangal Aarti. So is it not different from being in the Vaikuntha planet? The same. In Vaikuntha planet, what they are doing? They are singing the glories of Krishna. In the temple, what you are doing? You are singing the glories of Krishna. So the devotee gets the benefit of being in the supreme abode. So attending Mangal Aarti, serving Krishna, dressing Krishna, is it not different? It's not non-different. It's not material activity, first of all. That is it spiritual activity. Spiritual activity is done where? In the spiritual abode. So the deities are extensions of the same supreme person. Tomara pratima nahi. Not just pratima. Sakshat Brijendra Nandana. You are the same Lord. So being in the supreme abode or serving Krishna, both are on the same platform. Okay. Shilpa, read. Shilpa's phone. Okay, Mayur Prabhu, you read. You read up to first paragraph with the verse. Then Golaka, you read all the three till the last.
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपःसु चैव दानेषु यत्पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानोपैति चाद्यम्. Meaning, a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and productive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Purport. This verse is the summation of the 7th and 8th chapters, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penances while living under his care. A brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master just like a servant, and he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order, and if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. There are some of the these are some of the basic principles for observing brahmacharya.
After the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20, he becomes a man of perfect character. Study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators, but for the formation of
recreation. Recreation.
Sorry, recreation. Sorry, Mataji.
There's a lot of difference in the meaning.
Sorry. Yeah. Armchair speculators, but for the formation, but for the formation of character. After this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. When he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment. He must also give charity according to the country, time, and candidate, discriminating among charity in goods, in passion, in goodness, in passion, and in ignorance, as described in Bhagavad Gita. Then, after retiring from household life, upon accepting the order of Vanaprastha, he undergoes severe penances, living in forests, dressing with tree bark, not shaving, etc. By carrying out the orders of Brahmacharya, householder life, Vanaprastha, and finally Sannyasa, one becomes elevated to the perfectional stage of life. Some are then elevated to the heavenly kingdoms, and when they become even more advanced, they are liberated in the spiritual sky, either in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti or in the Vaikuntha planets or Krishna Loka. This is the path outlined by Vedic literatures. The beauty of Krishna consciousness, however, is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. The words idam viditva indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees. Chapters 7 through 12 are the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like covering for the middle 6 chapters, which are specially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters in association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifices, charities, speculations, etc. For one can achieve all the results of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness. One who has a little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, because in the beginning of the 4th chapter, it is stated clearly that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. One should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is a sign of faith. When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotee's association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in the association of the devotee, one is placed in devotional service, and this service dispels all one's misgivings about Krishna or God and Krishna's activities, forms, pastimes, name, and other features. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one's study. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna. This highest perfectional stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the spiritual sky, Goloka Vrindavana, where the devotee becomes eternally happy. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of attaining the Supreme.
So, over. Next is Rajavidya Rajagriya Yoga, the most confidential knowledge. Rajavidya, the king of the knowledge. Rajaguhya, the king of the secrets. So you may say it's an open book, everything is so open. Everything is open, but it's a secret. So let us see this.
Mataji, one small question in the last verse.
Okay.
So it was mentioned about charity in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So if you can please elaborate that.
Yeah, charity in the mode of goodness, that the person is not much concerned about his name. It's not much concerned. Charity in the mode of passion, he wants name and fame. Charity in the mode of ignorance or tamas, you can say tamasic charity. There he'll mix all tamasic food and give. There's so many who do. They put mutton pieces and they give. That happens even today in Shirdi. It's all tamasic charity. So we should be very careful. Sai Baba used to do that. He used to mix. He was a Muslim by. So this is all tamasic charity. Danam. Some give chai, you know that? You go to Vrindavan, there are so many people who give chai. That's all tamasic. Immediately somebody is giving chai, don't go and stand in the line. Just tamasic. Goodness, they'll give sato ahar. That is one way. Another is your consciousness while giving. Your consciousness is not much concerned about name, fame. Somebody is more concerned about name and fame. And tamas people, name and fame is also there, agitation is also there, anger is also there. A lot of anger. They also distribute, but they'll be always angry, frustration. Tamas means frustration, anger. Deep passion is tamas. Or when the passion intensifies, That is tamas. They also do danam, but in that their passion is more. Now you see a lot of now Navaratri festival will start. You see the food which is distributed there. A devotee cannot even stand there. They feel disgusted. You ask our Gautam, his father tells him to manage the whole Navaratri Pandal. He feels very disgusted over there. You can feel the difference between 5,000 people coming in Janmashtami in the temple and even 2,000-3,000 people coming in such Pandal programs. So this is all tamasic way of worship. Tamasic, Rajasic. It's all tamasic, Rajasic way of worship. And there are people who worship Durgaji in the mode of goodness also very nicely they do. So there you feel something, you can breathe. Yes. This is the way the worship should be there. So the worship also differs according to your consciousness, according to your nature.
Mataji, one follow-up question. So if, let's say, if we are passing by a road and a beggar is sitting, and if we give a charity, then that will be in which mode? Ignorance.
Giving to the beggar directly is prohibited because you don't know what is he going to use for. So if you want to really give, you give Krishna Prasad. You can carry some Krishna Prasad, carry some fruits, offer to Lord mentally, give him. That's not a problem. Your consciousness while giving you're taking 100 photographs, you're saying, I gave. Passion. There the desire for name and fame. Like we have the real incident in Mayapur. The person goes and he wants to give charity. The charity was the whole fans in the hall was small, but now the present hall. They wanted to put new fans. Then the temple president told, okay, tomorrow itself I'll change the fans. Again he comes and asks, are they really my fans? How will I understand? Even I am not able to recognize my fans. What people will understand? At least put my initials in every fan. So he put. Then he told, what about the beach one? Put there also, na? So all initials will put in every, like three fins and the ball. And third day he comes, again he's frustrated. He said, what is the problem? What is the use of putting? Nobody is able to read because it is moving. So at least when all are there, please don't try to on the fan. So this is the ultimate desire. So there are people who have like this type of desires also, their name and fame and all these things. Okay. So we'll start with the ninth chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyamyanasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha idam tu te guhyatamam. This word is very important. Guhyatamam. Pravakshyamyanasuyave. Jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat. So Lord says, now I'm going to give you the secret knowledge, Guhyatamam. There is something known as Guhya, Guhyatara, Guhyatamam. Guhya means, okay, I'm not the body, I'm soul. Till now we learned that. Guhyatara. Mama Ivanshu Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Which verse it was? Mama Ivanshu Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana.
15 something.
It is going to come. That is Guhyatara. Yes, everybody is Amsha of Krishna. Or you can say even the separated body, the separated parts which has been shown, Bhumira Ponaro Vayu Kammano Buddhi Revacha. So this is all Guhyatara. Also knowledge. How the matter is made up of. Apart from that matter, This matter, beyond that matter, there is living entity. There is all Guhyatara Jnana. Guhyatamam, that we are all servants of Krishna. Bhakti is Guhyatama Jnana. Guyyatamam. Pravakshyami anasuyave. I am going to speak about this. Pravakshyami anasuyave. I am going to speak this to whom? To the non-envious. Those who are envious, they don't want to hear about Lord. That is why they always have an objection when you speak about Lord. Because they are having that enviousness towards Lord. Why you are the controller, I should be the controller. Why you are the enjoyer, I should be the enjoyer. So they are envious of Lord. So I don't speak to them. I speak only, I give this knowledge only to the person who is non-envious, who is accepting. See, when you love your friend without having any enviousness, you are very happy if your friend is glorified, isn't it? In fact, you like to glorify your friend. But if you are envious, then you don't like to hear his glorification, nor you want to glorify. So, Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. How am I going to give this knowledge? Sahitam means along with Jnana, not just Jnana, but Vijnana. Vijnana means realized knowledge. Vijnana. One is knowledge, one is realizing the knowledge, practical application of the knowledge. And whoever hears this knowledge, Yajgyatva, moksha se shubhat. He will surely attain moksha. He will be released from ashubhat, from this miserable situation. So, Arjuna, I am going to give you that knowledge, which is accompanied by realized knowledge, that means practical application. Hearing to this knowledge, one will be completely free from all the miserable condition. Okay, idam tute, idam. Idam means this. This transcendental knowledge is Guhyatama. Okay. Aditya, read.
Hare Krishna.
So Aditya, you do one thing, two paragraphs you read. From there, Saurabh will read. From the third paragraph. Yeah.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyam anasuyave Gnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajnatva Moksha Se Shubhat. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Purport: As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed among devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. Hare Krishna.
Okay, read from here.
The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. And in the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service, and because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the
1 minute. So second and third chapter speak about the difference between the body and the soul. Then in the 7th chapter, more elaborate description about the matter also has been given, 7th and 8th chapter. If you see, that slowly about the devotional service also has been spoken. But now in the 9th chapter, it is a topmost. because it's going to speak about unalloyed devotional service. So 8th chapter, glimpse of devotional service is there, no doubt. But now what is unalloyed devotional service is going to be spoken. If you see 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, what did they speak about? 2nd chapter spoke about Sankhya Yoga. Isn't it? Sankhya Yoga, difference between body and soul. Then slowly passing all those things, we came to 7th chapter. 7th chapter spoke about who are the 4 types of people who will take up devotional service, who will not take up devotional service. How is this Prakriti made up of? Bhumira Punalo Vayu Kamano, Aparayam Saspanyam, all those verses were there. But now in the 9th chapter, what is in 8th chapter, it ended with the importance of devotional service. It also ended with the nature of the devotees. But now 9th will be completely on unalloyed devotional service. What is unalloyed devotional service? Understanding Krishna is a person. Now, till now, Krishna is a person is not much more understood. Now, in 8th chapter, yes, you can, when you see the fragrance or when you taste the water, immediately understand the taste is Krishna. We heard that chapter, we heard that verses, right? That Krishna says, I am the taste in water, I am the Om in the syllable, all these things. But Krishna is a person, Krishna eats. How to understand? 9th chapter speaks about it. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yat Karoshi Yadashnashi, all these verses is going to come now. But I am a person, I eat, whatever you eat, whatever you are eating, first you give it to me, Krishna says. So that type of unalloyed devotional service, that personal relationship, that how every jiva, and then afterwards, yes, every jiva is my amsha, but I am taking all the services from the jiva. If he is eager to perform, that is given in the 9th chapter. 9th chapter ends with Man Manabha Mat Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So personal identification has been explicitly taught in this chapter. That how Krishna is a person. That is why it is Guhya Tamam Jnanam. We just sing, Kaun kehte Bhagavan khate nahi, Bhagavan khate. It's not just singing. It is feeding Krishna. Devotees don't eat without feeding Krishna. If they're eating without feeding Krishna, then they are not devotees. Simple. If they are eating anything without giving to Krishna, they are not considered as devotees. Because how you can keep Krishna hungry? Krishna is your first family member. How you can keep him hungry? If you are keeping him hungry and you are inclined to eat, that means one is not a devotee. That's why devotees are not interested much in eating outside food. Why? Because outside food, who is making, you don't know. It is not just for taste. The devotees like to cook. They like to cook. They like to feed. First Krishna will eat, and then I will eat the remnants. So that is Krishna Prema. So even to come to that stage that I will only eat after Krishna eats, it takes time. Initially, we hunt for Jain food. We hunt for something which has no onion, garlic, and we say we are no Vaishnavas. You can call yourself Vaishnava only when you feed Krishna and eat. Simple. It's not Jain food or vegetarian food or whatever. It is Krishnatarian food. So this is also very much important. Okay, when you are traveling somewhere and you don't have any upaya, then you take it and you offer it to Krishna and eat. You're not interested in eating something which is made by outsiders. Generally, devotees take from the devotee's hand. As much as possible, try to take from the devotee's hand, try to find out solutions. And Krishna has given such an opportunity. There are centers everywhere. You can tell a devotee, please cook something simple. You can do that. Instead of going to big hotels and trying to eat something very fashionable. It's not necessary. It's not the nakshalas of the devotee actually. But okay, in the neophyte stage, at least given up onion, garlic itself is a big thing. So hotel going should be avoided. The first important is stop going to hotels. Because in hotels, you don't know who is king, One's consciousness is completely destroyed by eating from the hands of non-devotees. Because you don't know in what way he has made the food. So stop eating outside food. If you really have to progress in devotion, because we are coming to the chapter which is Guhyatamam Jnanam, the topmost of the knowledge. The topmost knowledge is Krishna eats and I should feed him. I will eat only when after Krishna eats, that means reverence of Lord. So, okay, I am not able to offer to Krishna. If a devotee has done that, then take that food. Then one can progress in devotional service. Because Jaisa An, Vaisa Man. You don't know whose hand you're taking. It may be very relishing. But try to avoid as much as possible. When there is no upay, then okay, you are taken, at least offer mentally Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. And then take it. If there is no solution, what to do? Okay, you've got something which has no onion garlic, just offer to Lord Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, and then take it. But that is again not for some enjoyment. Because you have no upay. You have upay, you have your center nearby, you have the food. Then don't be crazy of taking something which is, now you have chapati, dal, rice, sabji in your center. Oh, who is going to eat those things? Let me go and eat some pizzas, some burgers. And that is sense gratification. That is complete sense gratification. If we are interested in sense gratification, then okay, what to do? That stops our progress in devotional service. We should be very, very careful about it. Only when the time is you don't have anything to eat, there is no solution at all, then you're allowed to do it. And Srila Prabhupada very clearly says that also you can take something deep fried, which has less karmic reaction. Less karmic reaction. If there is no upay, keeping food in the house, keeping food in the center, if you go out and eat, then it's sense gratification. वो कौन खिचड़ी खाएगा भाई, चलो जाते हैं जरा मजा मार के आते हैं. And that is sense gratification. Simple. Because if we are not careful in our ahara, then we are bound to come down in our devotional service. Instead of progressing, we will be lowering ourselves. But anyhow, we will not fall to the extent which the materialistic people fall. That assurance Krishna has given. Okay, read further.
Stop. But the matters which are described in the 9th chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now, this first verse has specific significance. The word idam jnanam, this knowledge, refer to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, being, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand the science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now, in 9th chapter, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately. Because they are envious of Krishna, their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotee of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumapyayam. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyaksham Dharmyam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumapyayam. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. It is Rajavidya. It is the king of all the knowledge, king of education. Rajaguhyam, it is a king of confidential knowledge. Pavitram, it's the most pure. Idam, this knowledge. Uttamam, this is transcendental. Pratyaksha avagamam. Pratyaksha avagamam. You can understand it by practical application or direct experience. Pratyaksha means by direct experience, one can understand this. Dharmyam, the principles of religion. Susukham. Susukham. It is, one is happy to execute abhyayam, everlasting, and is everlasting. So this knowledge is the king of this education, the most secret of all secret, is the purest knowledge. And because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is a perfection of religion. It is everlasting. It is joyfully performed. So one understands his constitutional position. Because you're serving Krishna, you can understand, yes, I'm grooming the temple. Then who am I? I'm servant of Krishna. So one understands, yes, I am servant of Krishna. That service attitude makes a person understand that he is eternally the servant of Krishna. Jivara Surupo Hai Krishna Nitya Das. We are eternally servant of Krishna. This can be understood because of the direct experience. And why the direct experience is there? Because he knows that as much as Krishna is person, he is person, and also there is personal relationship. And in that, Krishna is master, I am the servant. Okay. Okay. Who will read? Arula, read. Read.
Hare Krishna. Rajavidya Rajagruhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of the religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. Perfect. This chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal of philosophers in India are Gautama, Kanada, Kapila, uh, Yag,
Yajnavalkya.
Yajna, Yagna,
Yajnavalkya.
Yagnavalkya, Sandilya, and Vaishnav.
Yajnavalkya.
Yagnavalkya,
Shandilya.
Sandilya, and Vaishnav,
Vaishwanar.
and Vaishwanar. And finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now the Lord says that this ninth chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and the different kinds of philosophy. It is the most confidential because confidential or transcendental knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. And the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. Generally, people are not culminates in devotional service. Generally, people are not educated in the confidential knowledge. They are educated in external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved with so many departments: politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, etc. There are many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities, but there is unfortunately no university or no educational institution where the science of the spirit soul is instructed. Yet the soul is the most important part of the body. Without the presence of the soul, the body has no value. Still, people are placing great stress on the bodily necessities of life, not caring for the vital
So
soul.
here in this paragraph, Prabhupada speaks about how one identifies himself with the body. Okay, it's a big purport of 3-4 pages. Okay,
Yes.
Saurabh Prabhu, read from here.
The Bhagavad Gita, especially from the second chapter on, stresses the importance of the soul. In the very beginning, the Lord says that this body is perishable and that the soul is not perishable. Antavanta ime deha nityastyokta sharirina. That is a confidential part of knowledge. Simply knowing that the spirit soul is different from this body and that its nature is immutable, indestructible, and eternal. But that gives no positive information about the soul. Sometimes people are under the impression that the soul is different from the body and that when the body is finished or one is liberated from the body, the soul remains in a void and becomes impersonal. But actually, that is not the fact. How can the soul, which is so active within the body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? It is always active. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active, and its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of the spiritual knowledge.
So,
Of spiritual
soul is
knowledge.
always active. The nature of the soul is to be always active. In the previous also purport, Prabhupada writes, soul is always active. Yeah.
These activities of the spirit soul are therefore indicated here as constituting the king of all knowledge, the most confidential part of all knowledge. This knowledge is the purest form of all activities as explained in the Vedic literature. In the Padma Puran, man's sinful activities have been analyzed and are shown to be the results of sin after sin. Those who are engaged in fruitive activities are entangled in different stages and forms of sinful reactions. For instance, when the seed of a particular tree is sown, the tree does not appear immediately to grow. It takes some time. If it is first a small sprouting plant, then it assumes the form of a tree, then it flowers and bears fruit, and when it is complete, the flowers and fruits are enjoyed by persons who have sown the seed of the tree. Similarly, a man performs a sinful act, and like a seed, it takes time to fructify. There are different stages. The sinful action may have already stopped within the individual, but the results or the fruit of that sinful action are still to be enjoyed. There are sins which are still in the form of a seed, and there are others which are already fructified and are giving us fruit, which we are enjoying as distress and pain. As explained in the 28th verse of the 7th chapter, a person who has completely ended the reactions of all sinful activities and who is fully engaged in pious activities, being freed from the duality of this material world, becomes engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, those who are actually engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already freed from all reactions. This statement is confirmed in the Padma Puran.
Aprarabdham palam papam putam bijam palonmukham kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu Bhakti ratatmanam.
For those who are engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified in the stalk or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Therefore, the purifying potency of devotional service is very strong, and it is called Pavitram Uttamam, the purest. Uttama means transcendental. Tamas means this material world or darkness, and Uttama means that which is transcendental to material activities. Devotional activities are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that devotees are engaged just like ordinary men. One who can see and is familiar with devotional service will know that they are not material activities. They are all spiritual and devotional, uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen. Furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional service, devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. This advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. The method itself is so pure that by simply engaging in it, one becomes pure. In the Vedanta Sutra, this is
Okay,
also
from here,
described.
Aditya, you read.
In the Vedanta Sutra 3.2.26, this is also described in the following words: Prakashascha karmanya abhyasa. Devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in the activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. A practical example of this can be seen in the previous life of Narad, who in that life happened to be the son of a maid servant. He had no education nor was he born into a high family. But when his mother was engaged in serving great devotees, Narad also became engaged, and sometimes in the absence of his mother, he would serve the great devotees himself. Narada personally says, Uchishta lepan anumodito dvijahe sakritasma bhunje tad abhasta kilbishaha evam pravrittasya vishuddha chetasas tad dharma evatma ruchi prajayate. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.25, Narad describes his previous life to his disciple Vyasdev. He says that while engaged as a boy servant for those purified devotees during the 4 months of their stay, he was intimately associating with them. Sometimes those sages left remnants of foods on their dishes, and the boy who would wash the dishes wanted to taste the remnants. So he asked the great devotees for their permission, and when they gave it, Narada ate those remnants and consequently became freed from all sinful reactions. As he went on eating, he gradually became as pure-hearted as the sages. The great devotees relished the taste of unceasing devotional service to the Lord by hearing and chanting, and Narad gradually developed the same taste. Narad says further, Tatranvaham Krishna Katha
Pragayatam,
Pragayatam Anu
Grahena Shravan,
Anugrah
Anugrahena Shravan,
Anugrahena Shranavam
Shravam,
मनोहराः ताः श्रद्धया मे अनुपादं विशृण्वतः प्रियाश्रवस्य अंग ममा भवत् रुचि. Sorry. By associating with the sages, Narad got the taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and he developed a great desire for devotional service. Therefore, as described in the Vedanta Sutra, Prakashascha karmanya abhyasat. If one is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service, everything is revealed to him automatically and he can understand. This is called pratyaksha, directly perceived. The word dharmya means the path of religion. Narad was actually a son of maid servant. He had no opportunity to go to school. He was simply assisting his mother, and fortunately his mother rendered some service to the devotees. The child Narad also got the opportunity and simply by association achieved the highest goal of all religion. The highest goal of all religion is devotional service, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti dadokshaje. Religious people generally do not know that the highest perfection of religion is the attainment of devotional service. As we have already discussed in regard to the last verse of chapter 8, Vedeshu Yagneshu Tapahashu Chaiva, generally Vedic knowledge is required for self-realization. But here, although Narad never went to the school of spiritual master and was not educated in the Vedic principle, he acquired the highest result of Vedic study. This process is so potent that even without performing the religious process regularly, one can be raised to the highest perfection. How is this possible? This is also confirmed in Vedic literature. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is in association with great acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all the knowledge necessary for realization. The
Okay,
process
from
of
here, Hari Chaitanya Prabhu, you read. Hari Chaitanya Prabhu. Hari Chaitanya Prabhu. Okay, Anuj Kamkar, you read. Anuj Prabhu, you read.
Yes, Mataji. The process of devotional service is a very happy one. Susukham. Why? Devotional service consists of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So one can simply hear the chanting of the glories of the Lord or can attend philosophical lectures on transcendental knowledge given by authorized acharyas. Simply by sitting one can learn. Then one can eat the remnants of the food offered to God. Nice palatable dishes. In every state, devotional service is joyful. One can execute devotional service even in the most poverty-stricken condition. The Lord says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He is ready to accept from the devotee any kind of offering, never mind what, even a leaf, a flower, a bead, a fruit, or a little, which are all available in every part of the world, can be offered by any person regardless of social position, and will be accepted if offered with love. There are many instances in history. Simply by tasting the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages like Sanat Kumara become great devotees. Therefore, the devotional process is very nice and it can be executed in happy mood. God accepts only the love which with which things are offered to Him. It is said here that this devotional service is eternally existing. It is not
So
as
what Lord
Maya.
eats? Lord eats one's love. He has everything. So what is he eating is your bhava. Yes. Read.
It is not the Mayavadi philosopher claim. Although they sometimes take so-called devotional service, their idea is that as long as they are not liberated, they will continue their devotional service. But at the end, when they become liberated, uh, they will become one with God. Such a temporary time service, serving devotional service, is not accepted as a pure devotional service. Actual devotional service continues even after liberation. When the devotee goes to the spiritual planet in the kingdom of God, he is also engaged there in serving the Supreme Lord. He does not try to become one with Supreme Lord. As will be seen in Bhagavad Gita, actual devotional service begins after liberation. After one is liberated, when one is situated in the Brahman position, Brahma Bhuta, one devotional service begins. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu madabhaktim labate param. No one can understand the supreme personality of Godhead by executing karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, or any other yoga independently. By these yogic methods, one may make a little progress towards bhakti yoga. But without coming to the stage of devotional service, one cannot understand what is personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed that when one becomes purified by executing the process of devotional service, especially by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from realized souls, then he can understand the science of Krishna or the science of God. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad
Bhagavad
bhakti
Bhakti
yogata.
Yogataha.
When one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what is God is. Thus, the process of devotional service of Krishna consciousness is the king of all education and the king of all confidential knowledge. It is the purest form of religion and it can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, adopt it. Hare Krishna.
So the knowledge is very pure and one should take it very joyfully. It's not the, oh, Bhakti Shastri exam is there. It's too much. I cannot give such exam. So Bhakti Shastri also should be done joyfully because we are gaining the transcendental knowledge. So it's very much important. It's a fortune that we are all studying Bhakti Shastri. Srila Prabhupada wants us to read the purports because every purport Prabhupada is there. The acharyas stay in their books. That is why book reading is very important. Studying the books, scrutinizingly studying every verse, why Prabhupada has written, are very important. Okay, we'll stop here. You can see how much Prabhupada has put efforts in explaining Rajavidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Uttamam Pratyaksha Vikamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Apyam. Prabhupada has really put 8 to 10 paragraphs in it. Is how Prabhupada wants to explain that this is Susukham Jnanam. It is the most joyful Jnanam. Just take it and enjoy the knowledge because this knowledge revives our lost relationship to Krishna. Krishna is a person, the individual is also a person, and there is personal relationship of every individual with Krishna. Okay. Any doubts you can ask.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
In the purport, there is this reference of Padma Puran, where this aprarabdha papam kutam bijam that is being mentioned. So, is it related to the karma?
Karmic reactions. Karmic reactions. First is the bijam, kutam, prarabdham, aprarabdham. 4 stages are there. Bija means it is in the stage of seed. Kutam means the paraphernalia which it gets to develop that seed. Then comes prarabdham, born in a low class family, born with some disease, or having some legal problems. All those things are prarabdham. That means already the reactions is faced. Aprarabdham, what is going to come in future. So what devotional service can help in doing? Burn the aprarabdham, burn the seed, burn the kutam. But prarabdham only at the very, very advanced stage of devotional service where he is completely in love with Krishna. Then he is not at all worried whether he is born blind, whether he is born lame. He's not worried about it. It doesn't affect us. We can see acharyas, though having no gross eyes, but singing for Lord, painting for Lord. So they are all beyond these karmic reactions. Okay. Any other doubt?
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yeah. Tell. What happened?
Okay. Mataji, if we are traveling for long days, then how we can, offer to Lord Krishna? Because
That is why if it is like, you can carry some dry snacks with you as much as possible. So even if you take something from outside, you can put that prasad in that. Something like that. Or if you don't have that, okay, take something which is without onion, garlic. Maximum use the fruits or something which is deep fried. Try to eat less outside.
okay, and during this is a bit personal, but during our monthly cycle, how we can offer to the God, Mataji?
You have to take bath, make nicely, and then offer to Krishna, not a problem.
Okay.
You cannot keep Krishna hungry.
Yeah. Hare Krishna
Hare,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Here it is written that God accepts that only the love with which things are offered to Him. But initial neophyte people they don't have love. So Lord accepts or he gives.
If he doesn't have love, he will not make only. Love is there. Love is there. But that love is with some contamination. If love is not there, he will not offer only, no? You give only when you have, no? And then you give only to one whom you love. Even that 5-star, I think, advertisement is give to one whom you love. Like something chocolate advertisement is there. So love is there. It's not that love is not there, or you are not done also. But love to the spiritual master can be there. So spiritual master said, that is why I'm giving. Simple. And nobody knows how to give directly to Krishna. It is taught. So who is teaching? Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. So he has love towards Diksha Guru, and because they are saying, he is doing. Simple. Krishna accepts that love also. Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, in the starting, you mentioned that some people are doing donation for the fame or in the tamasic mood. But by using their donations, the temple is distributing food to the needy peoples or doing food distribution.
That's not a
So
problem.
ultimately, he will get benefit. He will get benefits because he is doing donation by his
When he is
means by
giving
his
for,
hand. He is doing,
yeah,
means he's serving God.
any of whatever is done for Krishna, that is, that consciousness may be Rajasic, Tamasic, whatever it may be, but it is given for Krishna, so it is goodness only. He may be having that desire for name and fame, that is another part. But you are giving it to Krishna, so that is automatically is the mode of goodness. It's actually beyond goodness also. When you give it to the demigods, it comes in Rajasic. When you give to some ghost and all, it comes in Tamasic. Tamasic way of worship, Rajasic way of worship, then Sattvic way of worship. Okay.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Mataji, if I just have your permission, I just wanted to give a suggestion to Aruna Mataji, like she asked for traveling. Mataji, me and my Prabhu, we are abroad, we travel a lot and we have traveling deities. So you can choose Mataji for booking like Airbnbs. So you get utensils also, and you can carry a small rice cooker, 1 liter. It's small. So with that, you can carry one mini traveling altar with you, Mataji, and rice cooker hota hai, so you can make rice and you can carry some pickle, achar or dry chutney powder. And
Yeah, in the
you
Mayapur
have
we
a
did,
lot.
na?
Yes.
In Mayapur we had done. You remember, Aruna, you were there in Mayapur Yatra, right? No, you're not there. You're not there. So we had done the induction. So I used to cook in that for my grandchild. Because I don't want to give anything from the outside, even if it is there in the temple. Because she doesn't eat anything spicy. So I used to make that. What is there? Induction cooker is there.
And Mataji, you
Where
have a
there
lot
is a
of
will, there is a
different
way.
recipes also, like instant upma poha, like just put hot water and it's ready. So suppose you're at hotel also, you cannot carry any cooker or something. So you can make at home instant oats, upma, poha. So just kettle hota hai hotel mein. So you can just add hot water and you can offer to your traveling altar and have.
Okay. Okay then. Vanchakalpurudeshya pasindu Patitanam Pavani Vaishnavi Vaishnavi